So let's compare ourselves to these other creatures. Okay, this graph shows body mass plotted against testes mass. Unimale systems, which is, again, when the female is mating with just one male, are shown with black, and multi-male are shown in orange. And you can see that, in general, those ones that are multi-mating have larger testes for their body mass than the ones that are not. This is us. And so some people put them, as the authors of this study do, firmly, people are put into the unimale system. What else do we know? Well, these are some primate penises. I did tell you I was going to show you penis spines eventually. They are amazingly extravagant. Not only because they have spines, this is a scanning electron micrograph of several different kinds of spines, but also just their overall structure with knobs and bristles and things. Relative to this, our penises are pretty boring. They're notable mostly because they're long and because of their girth, which we'll come back to, which is very different among primates. But we don't have any of these extravagances on human penises. We can also look at the relative sexual dimorphism and relative testes size for just us and some close relatives. So chimps are promiscuous or multi-male species. What we're seeing here is this circle is meant to be the size of the female, and then the circle of the male symbol is meant to be the size of the male. So chimps do not show sexual dimorphism for body size. Those circles are the same size. But relative to their bodies, they have enormous testicles. And that's, remember, they mate, I gave you a number, 84 times in a couple of days, right? So very, very multi-mating species, okay? Very promiscuous species. Gorillas, on the other hand, remember I told you early on that a single male will have a harem of many females that he guards from other males. He's the only one mating with her, okay? And so that would be a classic unimale system. He's much bigger than she is, lots of sexual dimorphism in size because he's guarding her, but very teeny-weeny little testicles. And then here's us. Slight dimorphism in size. Relative to body size, our testicles are actually larger than the gorillas are. So we're kind of somewhere in between. Now, I know you're all wondering about the size of the arrows. Like I told you, we're known for the girth and length of our penises. Gorillas, it's only about 2 inches. Think of how big a gorilla is, 2 inches. The average size, in case you're wondering, guys, it's 5 to 6 inches for humans. And that is extremely long for primates. We actually don't know why. One idea is that it's because of our proclivity to have face-to-face mating, so you need a longer penis for that. Other ideas have to do with the girth being also for female satisfaction. I even read something that suggests that the shape of the human penis, we are the only primate with a foreskin, might also have to do with that suction cup action that I told you about in the rat. None of this has been proven, though. I'd like to see the experiments. You know, again, we can't change the length of the penis and see what that means for offspring production. Kind of difficult to do. Although it is kind of funny to think about, sorry. But we can't do those experiments. And this actually is a great place to talk about a scientific caution. It's difficult, perhaps even impossible, to determine why traits evolved when we're the only species that has them. If we could manipulate the penis length, like I said, it would be in a different place. But you know, the alternative is to compare us to our near relatives. And if the trait is not shared, that could be hair that grows throughout our lives. It could be something like penis length. It could be breasts that are large even when we're not lactating. It's very difficult to come up with any proof of their evolutionary value. We can come up with some interesting hypotheses, but proof remains somewhat elusive. So your third lesson, comparison of ourselves to our relatives suggests that females usually mate with one male. But male traits suggest that she's not always chaste. We can learn a lot about the evolution of sexual behavior from animals. But most of what we learn by studying animals is about animals. And they're worth studying for that reason. It's dangerous to make too many assumptions about what animal behaviors mean for ourselves. To do that, we really have to study ourselves. And I've told you some of the reasons why that can be challenging. But nevertheless, I hope that you've learned a bit about your sex lives and what Darwin's place is in your bedroom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is our, oh, I think I turned it on. No, it's on. Is that working at the back now? No, it's not at all, is it? Mute is off and it is on. Okay, so as usual, we will take questions. Please keep them short, and then I will paraphrase them for the vodcast.
Do you want to share this?
We can just put it here. Yeah, probably for that. Okay. Who will go first? Right at the back, yes.
I don't like so much my question, but I just wonder why evolution didn't create only one gender able to reproduce themselves.
So the question is, I hear two questions. One is, why do we have males and females? And the sort of addendum to that is, why do we have males? So not only do we have, because if females do all the reproducing, why have males at all? And it's a very, very good question. It's one of my favorite questions, actually.
You want to answer?
No, please.
I didn't study this one. Actually, the question of why we have males is a good one. We know, actually, from, again, a study of animals, that there are many species where there are no males, where the females are able to reproduce on their own. And it's not just, you might be thinking, oh yeah, that's like an amoeba, like I learned about in 7th grade science. Actually, it's true in fish and lizards. So there are many species where there is only one sex, and it's the female sex, because she's able to have a pregnancy. As far as why only two, there's lots of ideas about that. But I have to say that, again, there are exceptions. There are many species that actually have multiple mating types, more than two. As far as why we have sex at all, that's a whole other talk, I think. But why we have two separate sexes is thought, and I have to say, I study plants where actually you almost never have two separate sexes. You have all sorts of everything else in between. But the idea is that by having two sexes, it increases the ability to outbreed, is the short answer. We could get into more than that, but I think we might want to take another question. Or Arne can answer.
It opens up a whole, it's a huge question.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So we can come back to it if there aren't other things. Yes?
So in a lot of human cultures, women were bringing a dowry to their marriage. Do you have any speculation on what that means in the whole dating system? One female to one male kind of thing?
So the question is, there are a lot of cultures where women bring a dowry, so bring resources into to the mating, essentially. And how does that fit into this story, or does it?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I really honestly don't know the answer to that question. Often people say, but aren't there societies that are polyandrous where there's a woman mates with multiple males? We do know that from human societies, but it's incredibly rare. What we tend to see is either monogamy or polygamy, where the one man mates with many women. As far as the idea of the dowry, I'm not sure how it fits into this whole thing. When she takes the dowry, though, she does, usually in cultures that have dowries, go and live with the man's family. And so even though she's bringing quite a lot, his family is still providing the home and many more resources. So I think it would be difficult to say that the resources were even in that case. I think it's likely that the male's family is actually providing more over the life of their marriage.